Okay, so we're back here. So a couple days of not recording due to a cold and not a lot of progress in ICBM. I have converted a few items and have worked on a little bit of the code, so the progress is still moving forward to get the update out, but we're not going to be working on that in this video. I'll just keep converting code as I go, and I'm not going to really record most of it because, man, it is boring and slow work. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to be working on a little bit of the armory stuff and a little bit of client commission. They're kind of both in the same at the moment. We're going to be making the sentry guns be able to shoot at RPG projectiles. This is one of the requests that a client wanted his sentry gun to be able to do, so that way it can attack RPGs that are being fired at a base and shoot them down before they hit the base, of course. So we have a little bit of work to do here because the RPGs are only identified as a projectile, and we have no easy way to identify if that projectile should be shot or not. After all, a 9mm bullet and a rocket launcher both identify as projectiles, but you're not going to shoot at a 9mm because, well, you're not going to hit it. So we're going to work on that. I've started by creating an identity object, which we're going to apply some data to. This will have things like mass and size applied to it. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go default, we'll go float, and we're just going to do general size is what one of our things is going to be. We're going to return like -1 by default, saying it doesn't have an identifiable size. We'll actually implement this. And what this will do is this will give us a size sign. We're actually going to use this for a couple things. It's actually going to be used for the radar as well as other things. We'll probably end up modifying this method here to kind of say what we're detecting it with. Probably want to make an enum for this. Trying to think of like where to stick this though. Data maybe? Data would be a good spot. Yeah, we'll just make an enum right here. Sensor. I'm thinking of spelling that wrong. Let me check that real quick. Oop, you guys didn't see that. Okay. I'm spelling it okay. So that's sensor right there.
Sensor.
It's always concerning if you're going to be spelling something correct or not. So we got sensor types. So we're going to just have visual, radar, we're just going to use the abbreviations for this. Infrared, ultraviolet. There's a few other I want to put on here. Audio. Most of the sentry guns, by the way, work off of pretty much infrared. They don't actually use radar, and they're not visual based. They're definitely not audio. It'd be like I can probably make them work off audio. So what we're gonna do is go sensor type, and then we'll just add an entry here. At type. So the main use of this is going to actually be the radar, but we're not going to do that at the moment. This is just going to be something we're going to plug into the AI scripts for the sentry guns to determine if the projectile is big enough to shoot at. Because even if you have a rocket, like say if I have like a guided missile, but that guided missile is like 0.1mm and my bullet is like 0.2mm, I'm going to miss the hitting that rocket no matter how hard I try. It's just going to be moving too fast. Yeah, we're going to do that as well. So float, velocity. Let me fix this too. Get general size, get velocity. And we're just going to return. Actually, you know what? For some of these, we're not going to default these out. These are going to be mandatory implementations. Now, one thing with velocity, it's not your speed, technically. technically this actually needs to be a pause. Because we're asking for the velocity. Velocity is a vector. Basically, it's movement in a direction. With the velocity, you can predict your next position, by the way. We actually can make a default method for that. So be pause, next pause. And this is just a guess, by the way. We'll have to make sure we note that too, because this could change. And what this would be is it would be, we'll get the velocity, so you have like pause vel equals get velocity. And then it'd be new pause x, y, z. And I'm manually going to just add these to kind of just save on a little bit of RAM trying to do this, because if I make a new pause and I add a pause to it, it actually will then make a third pause, and then we're just wasting a little bit of RAM trying to do that. Eventually we're going to do some things to kind of mitigate that. So this would be estimated position of the entity next tick, assuming the entity does not speed up or change direction. So we got that. What else do we want to throw in here? We're going to want to get speed of the entity. So we'll go float get speed. And this is going to be return get velocity dot there's a way to do this. I don't want to normalize. I want there's a method in here that what it will do is it will turn it into a double. I mean, I could just do distance from 0 and it would actually work, but it's not what I want to do. Surprised there's not one in here. Magnitude is what I want, I think. Yep, magnitude, that'll work. So what this will give me back is it'll give me the speed, which is basically the velocity without a direction. Of course, this is a double, so I guess I probably want to... Actually, you know what, I'm going to cast it to float. The reason we're using floats, by the way, is a lot of the math is going to transition over to floats because we don't need that precision of a double, and it would save a lot of CPU and RAM to have it that way. And this is meters per second is our unit of this. Meters per second. And then we have no way to get acceleration because, well, that's not an easy way to do that. A lot of the stuff does not even store acceleration. This will do right now. Now let's go ahead and go look at the projectile of the armory mod, which I was getting ready to do before I started recording. We want to take a look at kind of how the projectile is thrown out, or is built out. Right now we have a class here which has iProject on it, so there's already a vanilla version of the projectile class. The only thing it's really used for is for the skeleton to kind of set the heading of the arrow. Is what it's really only used. Actually, I think it's the Spencer uses it. The skeleton, I think, has a different way of handling it. So we have a projectile, but we have no identification information on projectile other than just knowing it's a projectile. We need a size, and we need a few other things. What if I can extend entity base? Entity base would give me HP, which would not be a horrible ideal to have HP on a projectile. So we're going to leave it there. Get predicted position is going to give us basically our tick, our next position, which is good. The rest of this looks fine. So what we want to do is we want to change this to iEntity. We want to remove the abstract off this real quick so I can just force it to implement methods. There we go. And then our size is going to be, it's kind of hard to do this one because what I'm thinking of when it comes to general size is a spherical ball that represents your somewhat of your size. In that case, what we want to do is we want to go, okay, if width is greater than height, we want to return width, if not height. And then we're going to leave it up to any entities to determine the sensor type, because your sensor signature is going to change depending on what sensor is being used. If I'm using radar and I hit an organic object, the radar is not going to give me much. But if I hit a metal object, I'm going to get a lot back from it. I'm going to get a nice big signature from it. Okay, so I need to do the velocity now. Yeah, we just want this right here. There's nothing special to the velocity. So we new pause. I might make an object for this. I'm going to do a 2D down here. A 2D make wrapper object. With a wrapper object, what I could simply do is go, okay, your host is an entity, and then you just pull the current stored stuff directly from that. This means this will end up turning to an iPause 3D position system. Apparently we broke it in something here. Yeah, we broke a few things. Get velocity, your entity projectile. Why are you freaking out? Okay, give velocity is incompatible with, pretty much there's a give velocity method already in here. I don't see a velocity vector in here though. It says there's one in here though. Clashes with get velocity and entity base. Oh, it's entity projectiles. That's the problem. This is now get speed technically. We're gonna get rid of that. Hopefully it's not used. It is used. Bugger. So we want to get speed. The reason I'm actually changing this, by the way, is I remembered a lesson from my physics professor who screamed at me every time I would misuse the two terms, because velocity actually is not a single value, it's a direction. I'm like, oh, I probably should change that, because if she ever sees my code, I'll probably get an email going like, you're doing it wrong. Not really, she probably wouldn't even care. She's an interesting professor, though. She actually did a lot of the groundbreaking work on light physics. A lot of the stuff we currently use in computers is thankful to her. That we want to change this to... Actually, I think I just passes this in now. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I managed to break a little bit of everything now. Shoot. This is the problem with changing things, is I basically break backwards compatibility by doing things like this. Stupid thing is the ARC data isn't even used yet. Although the missile is programmed to ARC now, it just haven't got it set up yet. Because what I did is I copied the classic missile code and I got it all fixed up and prepared and ready to function. I'm probably going to put a 2-pause thing in here. Actually, you know what? I think you can do 2-pause on this. Yeah, it's actually a thing. Forgot I changed the defaults to allow that to work now. So we can just go 2-pause. And IntelliJ thinks there's still an error there, even though there's not an error there. We just close others real quick. Why did I break everything in the process of doing this? Oh well. This needed to be done, so. I need to come through and I need to recode most of the ICBM Classic stuff because it's not set up properly. It's still running on pretty old logic. I need to come through and actually really rework a lot of this logic. I mean, look at how this works. So right now we create a blast, we just create a new nuclear explosion. This should run through the threaded system and should actually do all the threaded logic properly. Right now ICBM Classic has its own little thread going on, and it should feed into the existing thread. And a lot of it's still in Chinese, like Dudan is missile, by the way. Two vec 2 distance. Huh. Legacy code. A lot of legacy code. I'm probably going to have to write some optimization code that'll detect for things like this right here and would just fix them for me. Because we're wasting RAM by doing that. Okay, hit build and make sure everything's good now. Now that we kind of messed up the projectile data. Okay, so we still got a bit of work to do because we need to make our own version of projectile that is unique but still has the projectile system applied to it. So I have to get like some of the calls. We can't call it projectile obviously because then we'll have a conflict of imports where we'll have to fix whatever import we're going to import. So we need to name it something else. And we're just going to go with something really cliche and just call it iBullet. Extends iEntity implement or extends iEntity. I believe you just do this again and it's like iProjectile. Yep, it'll work. That way we can identify it as a bullet. And then here we want to do a few things like, for example, Boolean can be destroyed. And then with this we want to go object attacker damage source. So what we're essentially asking right here is, can I destroy you with this damage type? So if I hit you with fire, does fire do anything to you? Because then the AI just can flat out just ignore stuff. Okay. So on this, we just got to implement this real quick. And we kind of just want to return false by default. At least in this entity projectile because, well, there's a few things we got to do. I'm probably going to have to work on the missiles here in a second too, because I think they're still using their own HP values, and I just switched over to using entity base. Be honest, I might even start switching over to a few other things. So right now we're extending entity base, which means we're using our own thing, which means we have our own HP, but most things will not identify this as an object. So we have a bit of work to cut out for us to kind of fix a lot of things in order for this to function. Like I noted before, we got the sentry guns of an entity so they can be attacked, but we still haven't fixed them so that zombies will attack them. Okay, so now we're in here. So here's our actual projectile. What we want to do in here is kind of, we're only going to make rockets shootable for the moment. So we're going to go if ammo data doesn't equal null and ammo data dot ammo type. I actually have to check this real quick. Oh, there should be a projectile type here, and there's not. Skip projectile velocity, skip projectile entity, which we are going to be the projectile entity, so there's no point even Trying to get that stuff. Projected items, energy cost. There's a way to get the projectile type because it is stored. Let me go check the data classes in Armory real quick. Because it should store in somewhere in here the projectile type. Yeah, right there it is. Enum projectile types. Where are you even at? You're in the Armory. I'm gonna toss you out to you're going to the API here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to modify the weapon data on the ammo type. And then I want to get the projectile type. So enum projectile types, get projectile type. Implement methods. Occasionally I have to do this with adding stuff like this. But this will give me my type because I want to know what we are. I want to know, are we an arrow, are we a bolt, rocket, grenade, bullet, laser? See, we're not going to be able to shoot bullets. We're definitely not going to be able to shoot lasers unless we're some kind of weird sci-fi magnetic field generator. We are going to be able to shoot grenades. We are going to be able to shoot rockets. I'm going to leave bolts and arrows out of this for the moment because they're not going to do damage to sentry guns anyways. They're so low damage value that it doesn't matter. But the rockets and the grenades matter. Okay. So we want to go if get projectile type equals projectile or enum projectile types and then grenade. And we're going to copy this whole line real quick and we're going to put it wrapper it so we can turn it into an or statement. And unfortunately my dog is whining at me. Every time I record this seems to be a consistency. The new thing is she's actually whining at me from the bed, which means she's taken the full lazy approach to trying to beg for things. What? No, you're not getting fed again. I just fed her here before I started recording too. No. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, grenades and rockets we'll go ahead and shoot. Right now we really don't have any grenades, but we're going to slowly implement them over time. So what you'll have is any grenade we have, and this includes the classic version, will start to identify as a projectile. That way the sentry guns can shoot it, although the fact of shooting a grenade isn't going to make a huge amount of difference. But the ideal is the grenade is actually meant to be applied to both the throwable grenade and the grenade launcher rounds, as the grenade launcher rounds would not be a rocket because a rocket would be something that's propelled. It's propelling itself, where a grenade is something that was propelled but is large. To be honest, grenades are basically supersized bullets with explosives in them. And rockets are basically the same thing, except they propel themselves. So missiles, by the way, are rockets. The missiles are just guided, where rockets are usually dummy fire. The terms are interchangeable in most cases, though, but some people get finicky about it. So this will work. So we can tell that we can destroy these. Then we just got to go program our AIs to shoot down projectiles like this. So this will work. And I think I'm going to have to make a new AI identification system. Also, apparently I'm going to have to change something in here. Missile, ammo type missile. Oh, you're missing a missing identifier. Yeah, the ICBM rockets have identifiers. Enum projectile type rocket. Yeah, so you can take the ICBM missiles, you can use them as ammo and weapons. They actually do function properly as ammo. I don't know if they're fully registered correctly and everything. There is ammo data for them, and then there is missile data. And there's a type per missile, and then there's an ammo per missile. There will be more ammo than just this. Right now we've only got the ammo set up as sizes, but the reality of it is you would have each casing would have a nuke ammo, and there is going to be more casings here eventually. As soon as I get over to the JSON system, I'm probably going to drop another dozen casings into the list. So instead of having the 5 sizes, which is all we have, you would actually probably end up with about 17 to 20 different casings of different sizes. So you would have, most of them are going to be decorative. Some of them are actually going to have uses. There will be things like drill missiles, things that were designed to impact and not detonate, drill in and then detonate. And these are going to be physical casings instead of being warheads because, well, putting a warhead into a missile that doesn't have an opening on the front isn't going to help you. There'll be a few other things like thermal ones. There'll be some teleportation. Actually, teleportation ones are going to be engines, but we'll get to that later. Thing we want to work on is making sure we get all this stuff kind of set up. I'm trying to think of where we want to work on next. I'm going to need to make an identifier. What I'm talking about is there's a system that the AIs use to identify entities. I think it's part of the selector system. No, here it is. It's part of the type system. So we have type checks basically. There's a type check for mobs, and the reason we have this is because there's a few things that don't identify with the iMob tag, but practically are monsters. Eventually I'm going to come through here and I'm going to add all the support for different mods and everything else to make sure they identify correctly. There's things that have the iMod tag that are not monsters too, just because somebody got too lazy and extended the same class as zombie extends, but then changed it to be like a friendly zombie. You don't want your sentry guns to shoot friendly zombies. So there's a lot of little things we have to do. So I need a new type check. Right now we only have type check mobs, so I'm going to need to do a type check for projectiles. So type check bullets, what this actually is going to be called, because it's for bullets. Actually, you know what? We're going to make a type check per projectile type real quick. Yeah, this is going to be tedious, but we're going to do it real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, okay, if entity is instance of iBullet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go return if entity.get. You know what? We need a few different things here. Enum projectile types. Get projectile type. Yeah, I knew we were missing a few things. We're probably going to have to throw a couple more things in here. Like, I don't want to do the access to the ammo data because that's going to be its own little thing altogether. But we might come in through later and go, okay, you want to only shoot at HE ammo, or you want to only shoot at incendiary ammo. Like, be able to start selecting your type. But we're going to want to make sure we add that information. This is where we're going to go back to being abstract. And we're going to go up to the top and go back to being abstract on this as well. So this means we're going to have a few things error out in a second, but we'll be able to get the projectile type here. So get projectile type equals enum projectile type bullet. And then we're going to return false. I mean, we're not going to have anything that's going to be able to shoot the bullets. The biggest thing with being able to shoot on bullets is most of the bullets use ray traces anyways, so there's no way to hit them. If we end up with a case where there's some kind of system that can shoot or can prevent bullets from getting through, we're going to have to create a special handler for that. There's going to have to be a lot of special handling. Okay, so let's hit build and make project real quick so we can error everything out. And while it's running, I'm going to go ahead and register this as a type. Okay. I'm actually not going to implement all of these real quick. I'm just going to do a few of these. Yeah, I'll stop with rocket, because rocket's the only one we really want to care about at the moment. I'll do grenades later. This needs to be rockets. That's bullets. Cool. We're good on both of these. Now there is a separate check for ICB missiles. ICB missiles already have a check for this. And speaking of which, I wonder why our entity for our projectile didn't error out. There it goes. This is why I don't trust the build system in IntelliJ sometimes, is that I click build and it built and it's like, hey, yeah, we're all built, we're good. And then as soon as you start to do anything, it all of a sudden fails. By the way, the reason why we're doing null checks is here we had an issue rather recently with stuff kind of failing. So what it ended up happening is that some of these projectile datas went null because a couple of the IDs changed, and it crashed everything. I was gonna find the ICP missile real quick. Because it is definitely errored out, and it's just not showing errored out. Okay, we're in the content package. So content, missiles, and then any missile. Yep, it's errored out. The classic one's probably aired out too. So this will be enum, projectile, and then it'll be a rocket. Taz, come on, go lay down. I'm gonna hit rebuild on this rather than just screwing with that for the second. Okay, so we need to go up to the armory, and then we need to go to content, sentry, AI. We don't need the comparator. That'll work by itself. To be honest, this is going to work just fine without me having to really do anything to it, because the system is already designed to just use the targeting system. So we have this enum check system here that will go ahead and it'll add a key, and then it'll go, okay, if target system contains that key. So if you have put that key in there and you have said you wanted to shoot it, and it'll work. Yeah, here's those errors I was saying existed. So here's the classic missile, which will be outmoded eventually. I gotta prefab out the missiles a lot more, so that way I can put it in Volts Engine so we can recycle it. Oh, shoot, where was that even at? Because it threw it down here somewhere, and I can't find it. There it is. That means we need a new projectile type for this. So we're gonna need one called fragment. That way I can make sure this actually identifies as a proper object. We're just gonna do that real quick so I can get the thing. Okay, there we go. And entity spore, which is part of the corruption mod, which I need to go finish because this would be a really fun mod to play with. And yeah, fragment. And what we're gonna do here is this is gonna be probably gonna end up coming back down and doing something like capsule for spore. Because you're gonna to be able to shoot at spore. The thing is though that I guess we can probably identify that a little better later. This isn't even finished yet. The ideal of what this is going to be used for is we have a creeper that explodes that spreads corruption when it dies. But instead of spreading it in a uniform area, what I want to do is I want it to shoot off spores in all directions. That way it has a higher chance of corrupting your base and messing it up. And by the way, corruption is based off the Tyria creep stuff. So we're good here. Now what I need to do is a couple of things here. I need to go mess with the AMS turrets. I gotta go down the content for this one. So there is a default type here, system, and we want to add rockets to this. Yeah, almost all the AI logic for the sentries is built up via JSON now, which is so nice. It means I don't have to change code to fix things like this. It means I don't have to also worry about backwards compatibility of, say, you're using a newer version of sentries with an older version of Volts Engine. It'll just function in theory. It just wouldn't be able to identify that type properly. Let's see, we then want to go down to the commission mod, which I'm trying to find. Here we go. This thing needs to be color coded. I really wish I might make a plugin for this, because I'm pretty sure these can be changed via plugins, and start color coding these so I can find them. Or putting icons right here. This would be so much nicer if I could do icons. So we go down to their sentry gun down here, and we want to edit its default list, which it does not have a default list. Means we're going to have to make a default list, which means I have to go find the sentry gun. So that'll be up in the armory mod. Content. Actually, it's not content. It would be armory, then content, then sentry gun. And then we don't want the sentry itself. We actually want its data, which is down here. Okay, so here's our default list. Trying to think of how to do this, because I kind of want to let all sentry guns shoot at rockets, but there's a balancing problem with that. Okay, let's reopen the EMSter here. We're going to copy its default list real quick, and then we're going to add these to it. That's the easiest solution I can think of. I'm going to have to make sure I come through and update this anytime I add new types to this, though. That's the only reason I think I didn't add the defaults to this originally. Actually, let me reopen that again. Where does this go? This goes inside the sentry. Right there. Okay. So put that in there, and then what we want to do is we want to copy this whole list, and we want to just dump it here. And actually, we only want the default target type to be mobs and rockets. There we go. And the reason for this is these are two neutral things. So mobs are usually neutral. You can shoot them and nobody cares. And then rockets are usually neutral and nobody cares. I do have to work on the rockets and get them to do a friend or foe effect system, so that way these will attempt to friend and foe identify stuff. This one's going to be a little trickier because we have to do an owner tag system. We'll get to that in a bit. First things first is we need to make sure actually we're just going to launch the game. So less toying around, some testing. Looks like my dog finally went back to sleep. It's kind of unfortunate is that I think she's starting to become diabetic like the previous dog I had. And it's nothing that I've done, of course. It's actually just genetic. They both were siblings of each other. And she's starting to show the same signs where she's constantly begging for food. So we feed her quite a bit, but trying to regulate so I don't feed her over in the mouth, which is kind of hard to do because she'll constantly beg for food. That or that food I'm feeding her is really shitty quality, and I might have to go take a look at that. Go buy some. Yeah, it's actually not a horrible idea. I might go buy some higher quality food. Right now I'm feeding her, I think, pedigree, like liquid meat packets things, which they size down those packets. They're actually smaller than they used to be, which might be part of the problem. But she gets like 2 of those a day, so I don't know. Complications. So let me check a few things here. Yeah, been waiting for my buddy Gogger to get back on TeamSpeak here. He's bitching at me that I broke the generators. I got on, I fixed the generators, and then he disappeared. Which having a lot of issues with mechanism pipes unusually. They really, really finicky, and they didn't used to be this finicky. I remember playing with them on 1.6, and they kind of worked pretty well. And then I'm sitting here playing with them on regrowth, and it might just be because regrowth is outdated. every so often the pipes will just flat out stop functioning. Or we'll get items stuck in them and they'll just infinite loop around and around and around and around, and then you have to like disconnect sections of the pipe and then plop a chest down and then wait for things to pop out of the pipes, because there's a limit on the number of items that can be in those pipes before it'll stop sending items downrange. Alright, let's see if this will work. The first turret we can test is the AMS turret. It'll be the easiest one because it's got the fastest rotation speed. Although this guy's still kind of sitting here, so I don't know, we can just do this real quick. I'm probably going to have to turn him on to shoot rockets. Oh, this is messed up. Allow types, default types, and it's only showing... We messed this up. Okay, that's the reason why it's only showing 2 types. We accidentally pasted into the wrong sentry gun. So I'm going to copy these, and hopefully I can Control Z this. There we go. We wanted to put this on here. That's not too big of an issue, is I can sort of make that work. Oh, you got no power. I'm like, why aren't you functioning? Power would be a thing. Searching, searching. It's not shooting at the witch there. It just shot a rocket down. They missed that one though. These are moving a bit fast for it to probably shoot down. Let's go grab the Wojujo's one, which by the way I got him some textures and stuff, so this thing's actually are textured and translated and actually has bullet projectiles now. But we want this, we want these, click, reload. I gotta go get a whole bunch of audio effects here. There's a lot of work I have to do with this stuff. Okay, you're not functioning for some reason. You got missiles and rockets turned on. So just not identifying this stuff? Okay. Trying to think of exactly... I have a feeling I know what's wrong with this. And it may be the additional spawn data. So when we fire a projectile... Actually, no, that wouldn't matter because that's only a client-side thing. We'll throw this up, though. We haven't even done the can destroy check. I'll implement that later. It's not too big of an issue right now. Let's pop back in here, though, and let's take a look at the sentry gun. So we got the sentry... We got its target selector. The butcher, game roll, do daylight cycle false, and then options, and then turn mob spawns off. That way I can just do this real quick. Oh, that's going to find me, isn't it? It's going to find squids too. We don't want that. We actually want to put it down here because it will identify a projectile, and we want to see if it's going to identify the rocket as a rocket. Okay. It got the fragments. It may not be quick enough to detect the RPG. It may not have enough range to detect the RPG. Let's give it a little bit more of a try. RPGs are too fast. Yeah, let's pull the AMS turret out real quick. Because it is really quick and it's got a really large range, and that's how we're going to detect this real quick. And then I'm going to have to drop the range, or I'm going to have to drop the speed on the RPG round to accommodate for the fact that this stuff is probably not going to work. Actually, you know what? I need a box mag, I think. I think he's used box mags. Yep, he used box mags. And then let's make sure it is going to target the stuff we want it to target. Did that just disappear? Oh man, what is the velocity on these? It's 1 meter a second. That's too fast, I think. Yeah, I think the projectiles are literally teleporting. So yeah, we're gonna have to change that and restart real quick. So I'm gonna drop their velocity down to like a decimal value real quick. So that should be down here, RPG. Because I think the client wants this to be kind of like a gameplay balance style projectile. You know, like if you play Battlefield, the RPGs are kind of really slow. Or at least the older Battlefields were. The new ones I think are more realistic. But if you play certain games, you'll notice the missiles fly at an abnormally slow pace, and people have kind of got accustomed to that. When the reality of a lot of missiles go like Mach 1 or 2, they go so fast they break the sound barrier pretty much. Especially when we're talking like cruise missiles and stuff. Which eventually we're going to get cruise missiles and ICBM, and you guys are going to be kind of boned when it comes to that. I'm going to have to right before I implement those, I'm hopefully going to get a lot of radar systems up and a lot of anti-missile systems into the mods. So that way, if we implement a cruise missile which can fly at like 7 times the speed of sound, you'll be able to intercept it before it even gets close to your base. Which is going to be tricky, because I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that in Minecraft without messing Minecraft up. Got a lot of emails here. Oh yeah, that's right. I told Lim to go ahead and report all the bugs he found in one of the mods. So we're probably going to be working on the grappling hook mod here in a bit. I don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow. We got to go fix it. And then I'm hoping to get more work on the ICBM mod. I will have time throughout the school semester to work on it, but my deadline of hitting it by the 15th here is just not going to happen. I always make these deadlines, but life is like, hey, we're going to do everything to you to prevent the deadline from happening. It's close, though. I'm so close to being done. I'm probably going to just, here in the next few days, just start on the 1.8 port, even though I'm not done with converting all of the ICBM stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and get a rough version out. That way we can test the system. I want to test to see if the JSON system will work in 1.8. We haven't tested it yet. We haven't got any prototypes working for it. And ICBM will make for a good prototype for that. It'll be a rough version, so you'll be able to play it, but I'll probably redo the whole thing again here later. But that way we have a 1.8 copy out, and from the 1.8 copy we can go to 1.9, 10, and 11 right off the bat, because the transitions from between those is not too big. The biggest problem we're going to have is probably with some of the entities when we go to transition from, I think, 1.9 to 10, and then we're going to have some problems transitioning from 10 to 11 when it comes to inventory support. Okay, so I've slowed them down quite a bit. Okay, they're still like teleporting. I'm not seeing any entity render. And he would have saw that and shot that if it existed. It's I think it's ray tracing. I don't think the velocity's working properly in it. So we may have a bug here. The way we can tell this real quick is if I put this here and it creates a projectile. It is creating a projectile. So it did create one. Just why is it going like the speed of sound? And you're told to shoot both rockets in that, so this should identify as a rocket. Let's put a tag here real quick. And I'm going to probably change the reload speed on this. Okay, something's getting your projectile type. Okay, let's take a look at this, and your ammo data is set. Type is ammo. Yeah, very descriptive. Ammo type is ammo type. Ammo type identifies as what? That's the reason we're having problems. It's marked as the wrong type. How the hell did that happen? No, you're marked as rocket. Unless it's reading it in wrong. Okay, so let's take a look at the armory mod real quick, because there's something wrong here. Okay, so we want the data. Actually, no, we want the JSON, we want the processor, we want the ammo type processor. Okay, we're reading in projectile type is what it's reading in. So let's make sure that's spelled correct. And then it's trying to get the type here. And what we were looking for was rocket, which is lowercase actually. I don't know why it's uppercased in here. It's probably why it's failing. So let's go to the ammo JSON processor, and we want to go to lowercase because we're probably having similar issues with other stuff. And that should do the trick. We'll have to reload the game though. I'm eventually going to get these scripts set up so that way we can reload Y in game. It'll happen eventually. Not right now though, because it'll probably take me a week or two to code all that up and make it functional and test it and do everything. And I think this dog has learned that if she whines at me while I'm recording, she can get anything she wants. Which, I don't have any food, so I don't know why you're begging for food from me. It's a cup of tea. Not even very good tea either. I blame the water quality around here. I'm like tempted to make a water filtration system that uses evaporation boiling to just kind of evaporate the water, then filter it that way. I think it's actually called distilling is actually what it would be. That'll get rid of, I think, most of the heavy stuff out of the water. Because the biggest issue is like you can taste the chlorine. I think the chlorine is making the tea taste horrible. Which is not too big of a deal. Damn, man, that comment I got on Imgur is still blowing up. Yeah, I made a comment on an Imgur post. Actually, I'll go ahead and just show that. Not boasting when I show this because I really don't care. I gave up on kind of the whole let's make a ton of points off of things. I think if I pop that off, we can see the original post. So we get this thing. I'm looking at this. I saw this in the bottom of the user sub back when it had like 3 points, and now it's up to like 1,500. And yeah, I've got top comment right now. So I'm like, oh yeah, this describes how programming starts. And of course, you get a lot of people that are now doing a lot of things here. Yeah, I occasionally get good posts like that. Unfortunately, it balances itself out with all the negative posts I get. So I'll post things mod related and they'll get downvoted to hell. I actually stopped posting mod stuff on there after a while because I found out just Imgur doesn't care for that stuff. Not a lot of websites do. And it's one of those weird things is the Minecraft is really popular, but only in its own little niche. Anyways, reload this thing and see if it'll work. Probably should have dropped the velocity. Why is that pointed in my direction? Oh, it tried to shoot it. And that is shooting at me. Why are you shooting at me for? Oh yeah, because like everything is marked as... Why is everything marked as shootable on your stuff? One, I am your owner. Although I probably don't identify properly as owner. That's a glitch, I gotta check that real quick. Let me go down to... Why it waste ammo on me. It's not supposed to even shoot at me to start with because I'm invulnerable. Sentry. Allowed target types, default target types. It's only got 2 target types defaulted in here. And yeah, you're gonna run yourself out of ammo, you stupid little turd. Place you back down. Might be a loading problem. Yeah, there it goes. It fixes itself that time. And we'll check it again when we reload and see if there's a problem. So this did try to shoot at it. It's still, where projectile is still moving a bit fast, but if we back up, it might shoot it in time. Nope. Nope. Or is it actually triggering it? Hold on. I actually can't tell. These are kind of exploding midair. It tried to shoot at that one. Still moving a bit fast. Okay, so I gotta figure out what's going on with this because these projectiles are moving much quicker than they should. So what we want to do, I really need to make an automated testing system for this because it's a little annoying trying to fire this myself. I don't know why I'm in this system. I think I want to try to find the gun object is what I'm trying to find. Okay, there we go. Fire at, fire weapon, do fire, and then right here's what we want. Okay, so we're creating our entity. We're going in here. It's getting our next chambered round. Okay. We've created our projectile. I think it's this spot right here, the throwable heading. Multiplier. Shoot. Yeah, this is the problem right here. Taz, cut it out. Okay. Next round should fire a little slower. If we remove our debug line. Taz, quit trying to whine for food. Oh, that didn't even make it anywhere. It's not even bothering to shoot at it now. Come on. No. You can't be on my lap while I'm recording. Okay, so I'm gonna end this here because I'm gonna go figure out what my dog exactly wants. Probably take her for a walk, and I'll be back.